Good evening. This is Talk Black to Me, family. I'm your host, Sister Freedom, and tonight we have a special guest. Someone I've been trying to get on the show for a long time, Baba Hamin. This is going to be a show, okay? This is some information that you've been waiting for, and he is going to give it to us tonight. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Definitely going to try. All right, I'm Baba Hamin. Most people know me as the brother, who operates a nonprofit down on 9th Street, 9th and Orange. It's kind of a heritage institution, that is a lot of products, organic products, natural products. That's where classes are held. It's where we do a lot of things. And so a little background on me, I'm a teacher. I teach elementary school. I've taught elementary school most of my life. I'm an educational technology specialist. I'm certified in that. I also have a degree in psychology, which I got out of college for whatever that was worth. And I've been serving and working in the community for about 45 years. I'm not that young, so
yes, you are. You're young at heart.
I have served as an imam, and as a minister, and I'm still a minister, but a different kind of minister. The African Islamic Mission in New York and Brooklyn. Our sister organization was the Ansar Allah community. And I also served as the Minister of Information for the Dar Islamic Movement, which was an offshoot of the Black Panther Party when stuff went down and it broke into different branches. The Dar Islamic Movement was one of the branches. I was there, and I've done a lot of writing because I'm a writer of sorts, and I'm a businessman, and I'm a teacher. But some of the writings I have, they're out of print. One of them is, the witnessing of Allah for the Muslims was incorrect. And I also wrote another book, The Iraqi War. And then I guess one of the highlights was American Jihad, Life After Malcolm. They did a whole section of myself and my family in that book, so you can pick that up. That was Stephen Barboza, published by Doubleday. And so I have to begin with giving honor and thanks, first and foremost, to our ancestors,
Yes,
for allowing
definitely.
me to be able to be here,
bow
and those sheroes and those heroes and those martyrs who sacrificed so that we can do what we have to do in our portion to this struggle. And I give the utmost honor and praises to a woman named Marietta, my mama, and a man named O.W., my daddy, and my grandmama Susie. And those ancestors are ones that inspire me and live through me and help me do what I do. So, and in their name, I come in the name of peace, and I give the salutations of peace to all our family out there. But,
Ashe,
and to our Muslim family, assalamu alaikum, and to our Hebrew family, Shabbat Shalom, because I know the Shabbat's coming in. And then, and to our Nile Valley family, Hotep, and to all the family, I greet you in that word, the powerful words of peace, because a lot of times we overlook that, we say peace, peace, and we don't understand it, we don't understand what we're trying to do when we're saying peace to somebody. We're offering something. If you think about the opposite of peace, that's what we're trying to leave out of the conversation.
That's right.
That disagreeable, the discontent, the noise, the confusion, the hatred. When we talk about peace, we're starting the conversation talking about let's unify. And the other person says back to you, peace back, I'm ready to unify. And you begin building from there. So, and for all those reasons, that I come, and I'm very thankful to finally be here. Sister Freedom has asked me to come.
Yes.
And I was inspired by some of the terrific shows, and I want to speak on that. Is that what Sister Freedom and has been doing on this show is no small thing. This is major. This is revolutionary. It's not just revolutionary to have a TV show. What is your show about? And that's what's important. See, this is not your normal Channel 28 TV show. This is providing a venue for consciousness.
That's right.
And we're gonna discuss consciousness, and it's a venue also for those people who have something to say here in the Delaware Valley to give them a venue to have something to say. And it's also bringing the entire community together around a concept. When we talk about black nationalism and black power and black consciousness, we're talking about unity. And there can be no unity if a large portion of the community is being left out. So now in Delaware, people look forward. They look forward to your show. Yes. And they say, you know, what's going to be there? Who's going to be there? Because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn about consciousness at different levels. And so, and it helps the community understand each other. Because a lot of folks don't understand us when we say, you know, right. They say them Hotep people.
Right.
You know?
They say them Hotep people, but they don't know how important that them Hotep people are.
Exactly.
To the community.
A lot.
You know.
There's a lot we have to build on. And maybe some of the things we can talk about today is if we can just talk about some of these concepts that people throw around: black power, black consciousness, nation time, nation building, and solutions, and you know, to some of the issues that are going here in Delaware Valley. So with that, that's my introduction of who I am and what I'm about.
And that is a lot. That is a lot. And I want to ask you a question. What do you think about what has been going on here lately in the city of Wilmington and in all of our communities?
Right.
With these murders, police killings, the political parties can't seem to come together.
Right.
Do you think it's something spiritual going on? I mean, do you see it as odd?
No, I see it as quite normal, what is supposed to be going on. And see, time, you know, time is a strange thing. It's an invention of man. And so throughout time, you know, we see different stages of development or regression of a people. And I think here in Wilmington, and I'm glad you said it, that it's horrible. Some of the things that are going on amongst ourselves, our people, is horrible. And in Chicago, and in Brooklyn, where I'm from, and in St. Louis, and all across the country.
But do you think at this given time that we could still blame one race as being the enemy? Or does it sound hypocritical when we blame someone else for actions that were done to us if we just continue to do them to ourselves?
I think that when things happen, they happen for a good reason. And not to digress, people thought I was really strange and an oddball a few years ago when they said Trump is running. And I said, I hope he wins. I hope he get in. And they was like, are you serious? I said, I hope Trump wins. Because maybe that will wake our people up. Because we've been so...
I thought it would at least bring us into unity. I'm not going to say I was hoping that Trump won. I really didn't have a thought of either one of the candidates. But what I am saying is that I did think it would at least bring us some form or put some fear in some people's hearts as to say, is you going down if you don't stop one way or the other.
Right. I think the reality of the opposition that we as a people face this country is more blatant under a person like Donald Trump. It's still there with a Clinton, but it's like it's just as bad, you know. So part of what's in Delaware is there's a lot of Delawareans that are concerned and out trying to do everything they can think of to better the situation, to find out the answers. First, you have to know what is the problem. My idea of what the gut level problem is.
Economics.
Well, it builds on economics without a doubt. Economics is what a major factor. But me coming out of the School of Education, I see it where it's coming from. And so, and it's not the total reason. We can talk about economics, but it all relates back to the beginning, go to the foundation. Our boys, our young men are, and people say they're off the chains. Yes, they are. They're off the chains. They just don't care. They have a very callous attitude toward everybody. Because,
but do you blame that on their upbringing in some
form
of fashion?
I think if I had to point fingers, and if someone said, identify the problem, I say it's education, and it's home life. But if you don't have the right education, you're not going. Your home life is going to be a cycle right back to where it was before. If it's a bad home life, you're going to.
You saying that you're looking at education before you are looking at the responsibility of the child's parents?
I think, and I say it, and I have no qualms with it. Anybody who sends a child, let me back up. Frederick Douglass says, "Those who control the minds of children control the destiny of a people." Now, our people don't want to look at the core problem because that means it's systemic. It goes with a system. That means perhaps maybe the whole system of integration doesn't work for us.
It doesn't.
And so when people can't admit that, so then they're going to look all past the problem.
And plus, they have to also admit that they have to take some form of responsibility for the actions of their child when in looking back at the actions of their selves.
I agree. Miseducation, I watch it. I watch boys in kindergarten, first grade. I watch them. They're just like everybody else. They're a little bit sharper. What happens along the way, by the time they get to 7th grade, there are many of them, because of miseducation, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge of cultural differences, they've gotten turned off because they've been made the enemy since the day they stepped up in the school system. So they're turned off.
But still,
when they quit school,
right?
When they quit school because they're turned off, where do they turn? They turn to they want Nikes. They want everything that everybody else wants. They have no skills, and so consequently, they're going to do other kinds of things to get money. Now you're stepping in another game, and that game is the perpetuating of a cycle of you're going to sling some contraband, you're going to get caught, you're going to do some time, you're going to come back out, you want to go straight, you can't get a job, you got a felony, so now you're going to go back to what you know, and it just keeps on going on and on. So most of the young brothers, they don't see no way out of the system. For a fool, I'm not calling him a fool, for a fool to kill that cop the other day, just jump out and just start shooting because he felt life was hopeless for him.
But see, that's why I keep going back to home. Okay, why would this child feel like, I mean, because he was nothing but a child. Society may say that you're grown when you're 18, but we know our children.
Grown is when
we know our children when you can take care of yourself.
Grown is when you handle your business.
What was going on with this child that he felt like, or if you want to call him a young man, that he felt like he had to shoot this cop?
Because
and what make it so bad, and I hate to say it like this, he killed a brother.
Right.
Okay, not saying that he should have killed white cop, but what I am saying is that, do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This black on black.
Right. The fact that for that young brother didn't concern himself whether the police officer was black, Hispanic, Asian,
So
European.
something, was it drugs?
All
was
he
something
know
mentally
is
wrong?
I can go to jail because obviously he was carrying a gun, and there could have been other things that were going on also that he made up his mind. I'm not going back. I'm not going to jail, and so I'll do anything. Now, what influences the mind for a person to think? Do you think you can get away with it? Of course, if you thought about it, you know you can't get away with it.
You can't get away with it.
There is no way about it. And to be that callous and to turn it into another perspective, angry. If I can digress for a second, one of my teachers taught me, if somebody walked up to you, Sister Freedom, and said, blah, 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 and cussed you out, you don't know, you've never seen that person in your life. Some people would get angry and say, and they'll respond back. Others, if you understand the nature of the whole picture,
I would think it would be quite strange.
And now you have to feel compassion for that person.
But the person that I am, if a person would have did that, it probably would have put some form of fear in me. I probably would have hit the person.
Right.
Just simply because I don't know what you're about to do next, so I'm going to hit you before you hit me.
Well, there's a spiritual side of looking at that.
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying at that moment, I probably would have been scared, so I probably would have, because I don't know.
Defend yourself.
I don't know.
But spiritually, you can say, out of all the people on the street, this person who don't know me from Adam came to me. The forces, the ancestors sent them to me to cuss them out because they have some issues. So I'm going to look at it as a blessing. As a blessing, you picked me. And so on a spiritual side, you need to talk. And I might talk to you because that's what you need. You need somebody, you need a hug. I'm not going to hug you, but you might need to talk because I know I didn't do anything to you. So it's not me, it's something other.
It's something wrong.
And with that cop, it wasn't the cop. It was something other.
Yes, it
his
was.
His anger.
Yes, it was.
His hopelessness.
Because in our nature,
hopelessness.
we are not murderers. By nature, normally,
right.
we are people that would rather not kill. So
Right,
when
right.
something like that goes down, something is wrong. Something is off.
Right. And the things that
We
are
are
off,
not the race that is of
mentioned home.
the blood killers.
You
We're
mentioned
just
home.
not.
Parents, a lot of times, and I'm noticing this, we're getting younger and younger parents. Babies raising babies is not a good formula for success, and so a lot of young folks are trying to be parents and still live their lives. I watch it. I see it every day.
Yes.
If they haven't said, I'm a parent now, forget my life. It's all about my child, my family. There's a lot of people who are not about that, and I'm not blaming sisters. I'm saying young people. And so young brothers, a brother told me once, he said, I got 3 kids. And I said, oh, you must be working hard with that. And he said, I don't see them too much. And I'm like, how could you not? How could you not? And this is where, with black women, he said, because their baby mama, she got it. And I said, you're right. She will have it. But that's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
Now you got a very angry black woman now because she's going through a life by herself where it wasn't meant to be her alone. But she's going to do it because sisters got it.
Yes.
Grandmothers got it.
Got it.
And so to take advantage of that, you got it. How do you know the child ate? Because she's going to make sure of that.
But see, and that's another reason why I say what I say. The position of the man is gone.
No, it has to be
And I mean, I'm not going to
redefined.
say all. Let me make sure that the listening audience
Right.
don't take it wrong.
Right.
I'm not talking about all men, because there is a lot of black men or men of color who does take the responsibility and take care of their children and their wives.
Okay.
And a lot of them take care of their mamas too.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, the image of a black man is missing.
Yes.
It's missing.
It's gone. I told a person that is close to me, I said, you are skilled, you are licensed to be a plumber, to be a welder, to a contractor. And your position as a man, your responsibility is to the children.
Absolutely.
It is not going to hurt to take 5 boys with you. 5 boys, even if you just got 1 child or 2 children, and you know as boys come by and play with your son and they don't have no fathers.
Right.
Why is it you can't take them other boys and go upstairs and show them how to take a toilet apart or a sink apart and put it back together again? Or even go to the Goodwills and buy something that you could take apart and put back together again. And now they're learning a trade.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of them can't afford to go to these schools.
Right. Oh, you're talking about private schools.
Private schools.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it takes a village to raise a child. You just can't say, oh, I'm just going to take care of my own child.
Well, that's part of what's the problem. There's a Swahili term called Ubuntu. I am because we are. And I cannot be unless we all are. So there's that sense of collectivity is missing in our community, and we have so many different ideologies. Some people believe it's right. This is the best way to save a child. This is the best way to save a child. I say we need rites of passage here.
Oh, we definitely need, right?
We need
And
right,
just
right.
to say, the person that I was speaking to agreed.
Right.
And thought about it and said, you know what, you're right. You are right.
Our children
People
will
are
love it.
tired of talking about, what should be done.
Right. Or
And
what
do
has been.
something.
Right. Or,
You have to do something. I can't stand people say, oh, that's a shame this and that's a shame that.
Right.
But ain't doing nothing themselves.
Right.
Nothing. Not even missing a beat. This is not doing nothing.
Well, for me, I spend a lot of my time trying to inspire, encourage people, and direct them toward, when we talk about black power, that means doing something, learn to do for yourself and do for the community.
That's
And
right.
so like I'm on this, I did a lot of studies of different schools of thought. And one I'm on now is Booker T. Washington. Now, I know Booker T. Washington, some people say, well, he was the father of black nationalism in this country.
Okay.
In my studies and learning about Booker T, when they established Tuskegee Institute, the first thing they did when they had the first class was tell those young men, what do we need? And they said, buildings. And he says, okay, what do you need for buildings? And they said, bricks. He said, we're going to first class learn how to make bricks. They made bricks, built a building, built another building, they built the classrooms, and everything they needed, they made and produced. So we've gotten away from that.
Yes.
We've gotten away from that.
Won't have no
We're
businesses,
too
no
used to
nothing.
somebody always providing for us, like as children. So we look for somebody else to solve our problems. We look for somebody else to give to us, give us a job. If we don't have a job, we're the only people, I keep saying it, in the history of humankind that was enslaved. And then they came to a point in slavery where they could not keep us enslaved anymore. And they had to take the chains off of us. And they released us from the chains. And we said, thank you, can we get a job? Now, can you imagine?
After we'd have made everything
That's
for them.
1865. We asked for a job and been asking for a job for our ex-slave masters ever since, instead of going out and providing our own selves. Integration is one of the worst things that happened for us.
Yes.
And
I agree.
After slavery, we start going into ourselves, amongst ourselves, and building community. That's separation, Black Wall Street, etc. We were doing it. We were developing doctors and lawyers and accountants and shoemakers and everything else.
This is true.
But then we desired to drink in that water fountain and to sit at that food counter and go to their school, and now we're up to now today. Nothing has changed.
I think that our intentions were
to be accepted.
Equal, to be accepted. But at the same time, like, we wanted it to be fair.
No, but see, you can't get the two. In order to have
I just don't want to make it seem like that.
If somebody doesn't want me around, why would I enforce or insist on being around them? Somebody say, I don't want you in my restaurant. Good, I don't want to eat your food anyhow. Why would I want to eat your food? And it's like, so
you are right.
We are people who have become so lackadaisical, we produce nothing. And so it's hard for any people on this earth, Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Gambia, Europe, Asia. That's why Asians look at us in a particular kind of way and go, we got no respect for y'all, because y'all don't make anything. You don't produce anything. You don't even produce a belt.
They get everything from Africa, pretty much.
All the raw materials might come elsewhere, but we don't stand on our own feet. We don't have a corner store. The only corner store, black corner store,
we're really confused.
We're
and
dependent.
Messed up.
We're dependent like children.
But that came all the way from slavery.
Yes, and at what point in time? What point in time would we say, like Garvey said, like W.B. Du Bois say, like Booker T. Washington say, do for yourself? Elijah Muhammad, do for yourself.
We probably got to be taught to be that way. I mean, psychologically, we have been torn apart mentally. I mean, it has come down through the generations. You can't expect people just to wake up and just be like, they have to kind of go through it.
It goes through stages. That's why I believe if we were enslaved for 400 years, it'll be 400 years before we actually be free. Because we have to go through these stages. I say, I homeschool my children. Everybody knows I homeschool my children.
I do too.
All right, I homeschool my children, because I said they're not going to get the proper education. If I need to select the type of education they get. So now, as they're grown men and women, married and happy, got their own homes, this and that, they're professionals. They might have went to high school, go get that money, go get those scholarships, but before high school, no, we'll give you your foundation. My children breezed through school, through high school after that, and went on to colleges, and now I have a dentist and a doctor and all different types of high professions, because they had a good, solid foundation.
But you also have many children, don't you?
I have a few. My baby, AbdulLatiyf. AbdulLatiyf. And that's why, because of AbdulLatiyf, my 3-year-old, I have to do it all over again here in Wilmington. He can't go to other schools where he'll learn about Halloween, or learn about all kinds of craziness, or be called the little bad boy that, we need to be hard on him. And I can't subject him to those kinds of things. So we have to create a school. So we're in the process of creating a school. And one of the organizations that I'm a member is Seed Council, Cultural Enlightening Educational Development. We started that nonprofit so that we can take those parents who want a little bit more for your children, not just the same old, and we're going to build grade after grade. It's preschool now, then it's first grade, it's kindergarten, then the first grade, then the second grade, then the third grade, and the fourth.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
that is wonderful.
That's not something, it's a thought, it's a reality. It's what we're doing. And so how we're doing it, we can't speak openly about it and all this because we don't want the negative forces that were out to stop us. We want to have a facility that, whereas if a parent doesn't want to have their child vaccinated, they should have that right.
And they do have that right.
But if you didn't believe in vaccination, you're going to have a hard time getting your child in school because they won't accept them. So
I would know my daughters.
Right.
I just refused it.
Right.
Period. But my son was homeschooled up until he got into the until he got to high school.
And they require the vaccinations, and they require you to sign off of whatever programming they do to them, child. There are no black male teachers in these schools. So black male.
There's very few.
And even amongst the people that you can ask anybody, how many black male teachers did you have during your career in school? And most people go, some people say none. I never had one.
It's really funny because a lot of the black educators that I've come across, they always seem to be bootlickers too. And I'm sorry for saying the word like that, but
if a strong brother,
they do.
The school system doesn't seem to want any strong black men in the school. And so they accept them to come into school. You're going to be the disciplinarian. So all the little black kids that act up, you put them out, you check them. They come to teach. They didn't come for all that. So black men get turned off to education. They got to fight the administrators, who it becomes a masculine and feminine kind of thing, that they need to submit and this and that. I can submit to any woman who makes sense, but I understand that if the program you're going to introduce to a child is not developing, you're introducing a whole new psychology that has nothing to do with that child's life, and then you promote it to that child. If the child doesn't regurgitate it back to you, there's something wrong with that child.
That's right.
So I'm not going to participate in that kind of education with any child. And so what happens is, if we give children the right foundation, no matter what's going on at home, they have a value system. What value system do our people rely on? Yeah, they can pick from the traditional ones, Islam, Christianity, Hebrew Israelite. They can pick for the traditionals, but there's others. But they don't know of the choices of others.
No, they do not know of the choices, and we really need to teach. I'm going to have several people on the show to teach you the way of life before the plagiarized, done over, legal, religion.
Right.
Okay.
When you ask people.
There is something else that belonged to us.
Right.
And at our time, that our people our communities don't know anything about.
We only know.
And it's time for us to know this is the age of Aquarius, the age of information.
Well,
we came out of the age of confusion.
To present that, show people different options, because a lot of people reject man-made religion, that rituals and this and that. You go to church at this time, you do this at that time, at the temple you do this. A lot of people reject that, but they don't fall back on anything else. And there needs to be something else. There's other options. And so our people lack the kind of moral and high value education that doesn't go on in school. It's got to come from the home. If a parent says, I reject religion, I'm going to raise my child to be whatever they want, whatever they think. And so they'll get their religion in the street on the corner.
Well, you got to understand, I'm not trying to put down anybody's way of life that they chose, but they only chose that way of life because it was all that they knew.
That's all they knew.
To choose. But, and then you have to pick and choose, because nobody that is claiming to be Christian to me is really Christian. okay?
I know
And
some-
nobody that is Muslim, to me, okay, is really Muslim. And even the Hebrew Israelites are not really Hebrew Israelites. I mean, if you're going to go by what's in the Bible, then go by what's in the Bible. If you're going to go by what's in the Quran, then go by what's in the Quran. If it's really for us to do.
Okay, well, I'm just going to disagree politely and respectfully disagree. I know a lot of really good Christians because
You do?
they live Christ-like.
And they eat pork.
Well, that besides what they diet on,
I'm just saying.
Are there people? We have to ask ourselves: are you good people? Do
You
you
mean
help
from
the
what you
poor?
see?
Well, do you help the poor? Do you take care of your family? Do you think of others? Do you put others before even yourself? Do you give back? And I say, that's a good person practicing that book. When I see them, I
But
know
you don't even have
a
to
lot
be a
of
Christian to do that.
I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm Christian. I go, what church do you belong? They go, church? They don't. They just say it because they just know that they got to say something.
Yeah, they say they're
never,
Christian because that's all they'll say.
No.
Well, my mom was Christian, my grandmother's Christian,
And they
I
never-
was raised Christian, but
they
you don't
never
go to
walk-
church.
They don't go to church. They couldn't recite a biblical verse, and they can't practice it because they don't know it. So we talk.
But let me ask you this: do you know people who do the things
I know-
that you just stated,
Right.
but they're not Christian, but they because you wasn't born with the book?
Right.
Why couldn't that just be you naturally?
But there are people. I'm
one of those people. I'm that way naturally.
I was raised as a Christian, and I
was too.
I know the book. I know it well. I don't put it down. I like gospel music.
I'm not putting it down.
Yeah,
I'm talking the people down.
Now, but the people who practice it, I like to see a little bit more from Christians, a little bit more from the Muslims. There cannot be violence on your Christian block. There cannot be a dirty Christian block or Muslim block or a Hebrew Israelite block. It cannot be people cheating each other and people running around doing all kinds of worse because you're right there. So if it's out of your sight, I can see it.
How many black churches that you know in the city of Wilmington that if you need help with something, gas, electric, rent, even food, how many of them you know help you? That are helping people.
I wouldn't
saying
know.
there's none that I know too much about. And even if they are ones specked around somewhere, I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All the
saying,
religious institutions
that come
need
into
it.
communities and try to knock on doors and see what it is that they could do. What about the organizations that should have come out of the churches that will help mothers, single parents?
Right.
Okay. I just don't see it that's going into the prisons to make sure that the prisoners are being treated properly. And
Right.
I just,
Now you're talking real religion.
But you said that you knew a lot of
No,
good
I
Christians.
know good people
Good
who
Christians.
practice certain ways of life. I think those same
But
people,
Jesus-
those same people would be good people no matter what way of life
Right,
they be.
no matter what
because
way of life.
There's a goodness in their heart. So when we go back to it's how a person was raised. So I think we all can do more. I see organizations. There was an organization that they asked me, said, how come you didn't come to the meeting? And I said, because I don't think you're in the right direction, and it would be phony of me to sit with you knowing you're going in the wrong direction. If we want to talk about the problem in the community right now, if you want to put a Band-Aid over it, there needs to be jobs. And if you're not talking about jobs, create you, Reverend,
More
Minister,
positive male
Imam,
role models.
are creating jobs for these young men who can't traditionally get jobs, then I think it's just a waste of time. Because that's why we talked in our Garvey meetings about having a corner store on the east side and a corner store on the west side, RBG store, red, black, and green, black power, power to
That's
people,
right.
race first. And where the people people within the community own 50% of the store, and then the organization would manage it with the other 50% of the store.
And I think it should be the responsibility of the city to make sure that that's happening.
No, see that's the one disagreement. I don't think it is the city's responsibility.
You really don't?
I think it's our responsibility. We lean too much on the city. We getting ready to do an event like sometimes like
We
the
spend the
Juneteenth,
most money in
the
the
Juneteenth
city.
event that I try to promote every year. Some of the members will say, well, ask the city for money. They're not. What do they care about Juneteenth? What's it to them? This is our concern. This should come from our people. So the Juneteenth, you know, the last couple of years, we don't ask for any support. That's something we believe in our July 4th, which is Juneteenth, as a people. Then we make it a holiday. We make it a celebration. And let it come from us. We don't need other people to do that for us.
And I agree with you on that. Like Malcolm X's birthday, we have to make that a holiday for us.
Okay. If we don't do it,
We have to make that.
right.
And
Exactly.
every black hero that we have, female and male,
Right.
should be a holiday for us.
What do you think about what they're doing in New York on Malcolm X's birthday?
I love it.
Right.
I love it.
For family, for the viewers, on Malcolm's birthday this year, on May 19th, 125th Street in Harlem is closing down.
That's right.
And it's going to be, you know, in the morning, a lot of people are going upstate where he's buried, and we're going to do some ceremonies up there, and then people are going to come back down and
I know
Harlem.
the Black Panthers go every year.
Yeah. And so that's our hero. If we don't honor our heroes, who we can't expect.
That's right.
We can't expect other people.
It
we can't,
is our responsibility. And
yeah.
there it is with the males in the homes.
Yeah.
That is something that y'all can make sure happens this year and every year past that, even the mothers.
Right. Right. It's a responsibility. We're talking about.
That's why I keep saying at home, it gotta start at home.
Okay. When we one of the things that I'm always intrigued about in the conversation, like, what is Black Power? You know, and if Black Power is something that when we get in the Kwanzaa concept, we use Kujichagulia, is self-determination, that you're doing for yourself. Like Garvey did, for self. Elijah Muhammad, for self. The Kemet, they say, know yourself. You know yourself, you do for yourself. So in this situation of power, you can't have power when we're depending on somebody else to do it for us. We should have our own schools. We should have our own social services. We should have our own stores. We shouldn't have to go to other people for other things. But until we start doing it, we're going to always be children. And some of us desire not to be children. So that's what this show is important.
When I say the city should make sure it happen, they have a lot of buildings that are not, they're just like condemned and not being used.
Yes, but there's a process.
I'm just saying.
There's a process.
Okay.
If you see a building, identify it. Say, go to the city and say, okay, you're not using it. It's
Right.
abandoned. The landlord
That's what I
walked
said.
away. Can we get it? Here's our business plan. Here's our proposal.
Right.
But we would like to do something for the community. And I can see cooperation. There should be cooperation.
That's what I'm saying.
And ready to meet other people, powers that be, on an even footing. Not just you give me, give me, give me. No, we got this. If we had that building, we can do this. We can raise the rest of the money to do this. And so, yes, right now, the journey for the next 100 years is awakening. It's a period of time. What's going on? You ask me, what is going on? That our people are waking up. And what are they waking up to? They might have to come to some realities that they don't normally want to face. And some of those realities are the school system is failing. I keep going back to that.
That's right.
The school system is failing our children. We have to go back to the fact that there is a higher level of unemployment because we're not providing jobs. So how do we do it? Go back to Booker T. Washington. We need to turn out people out of schools again that are job producers, entrepreneurs, those who are ready to.
Used to be like that.
Well, then we can always. I'm looking out for my son, saying, this is the community I want him to be in, amongst people who are establishing businesses and factories and being producers, and not people who lean on other people. And we need that respect. And so the respect is only going to come when that realization of consciousness of like, this isn't working. It's hard for black folk to say, or African folk, or Nubian folk, or whatever people want to call themselves, to wake up and say, this is not working. And that means, and that's a hard thing for people to wake up and say, okay, so if it's not working, what do we need to do? Go amongst yourselves and do for yourselves. And people go, nah.
They're going to ask how you want us to do that with no money.
Right, and how did everybody else do it? Everybody else in the world has to do it. what they create. They learn
Oh,
to
well,
create.
you know, we were used as the money for, you
They
know,
said if
in
when
the
Obama
past,
was
but
president,
we don't have nobody we slaves.
when Obama was president, and he said, okay, I believe in reparations. So we're going to give the states of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia for all black folks. And all the white people in the next 5 years are going to move out, and the black people have been asking for reparations. You want to do for yourself, go there and do it. The reality of, in 5 years, that would be some empty states because nobody would go down there because we have a lot of concerns. Is Verizon going to be there? Is Comcast going to be there? Are we going to have TV? Are we going to have cell phones?
Nike sneakers?
Yeah, no Nike sneakers. You know, and so we have all these reasons that we like. No.
But you might be surprised. I think it's a lot of people that would actually go.
And-
I probably would be one of them.
My concern is Bubba going. If Bubba going, I ain't going. I'm not going down there with killing and shooting and disrespect and immorality and no value system. So there's some people I don't want to be around, you know, and you know, because they're uncivilized. We want the civilized. Speaking of civilized, can I speak on Dr. York? I just want to jump around.
You know what? You was reading my mind because I didn't want to cut you off, but
All right,
Baba Hamin.
Yeah, let me.
Let me say this.
Right.
You touched this man. Okay, because to me, you know, he's the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm glad
you
to hear
said like how me and you are.
Right. For those who know, so part of this conversation is going to be for those who know.
Okay.
Those who may not know what I'm talking about, well, I can only encourage them to read and find out. At one time, there was this man named Malachi Z. York, and he believed in doing for self.
That's right.
And so he organized a bunch of followers, and he gathered them together, and maybe 10 or 20 people. And he said, I have a vision. We need to have a place where we need to do our business. Why don't we buy a building? And the followers,
Brownstone, New York.
the followers said, well, how are we going to do that? And he said, he turned to his other brother, Oba, and he said, Oba, how can we get a couple $100,000? And Oba gave him a plan. Try that. Because we're all merchants. And he said, so we all sold on the subway in the streets, and we used to sell our incense and our oils and stuff like that. And he said, what if you had 20 brothers going out every day selling and bringing every dime back and put it in the penny jar? Every day of the week.
But selling what? The books?
Let's get incense. Let's start with incense.
Okay.
Doc said, I'm going to start writing books. And some of the things that he was coming out of his mind with, I'm like, wow, you know, people, I don't know if they're going to accept it. It's above what people, he started writing about everything and printing books, and, you know, and within 6 months, he said, let's buy a building. And he bought a building. And the community, that was the beginning of the community of about 20, 30 people. And that tripled immediately. Other people will say, I like what y'all doing. It's that we're eating for ourselves, we buy our food, we cook our food, we got a system for ourselves, we're doing it for ourselves. And he kept that system going, kept writing books, and kept developing a community until it was 2 buildings, and it was 3 buildings, and it was 5 buildings, and it was 10 buildings, and then it was 15. Then we practically owned the entire neighborhood. And it was built around the same principle. Go to work every morning, get up, brother, lazy brother. You got to learn. I know you're not used to it. I know you've been down and out all your life, and you never had nothing to believe in. Well, now here's something. And so he took these people, and these brothers, these sisters, and they just started building. And they would get up in the morning doing things they had never did before and go out and work. And they built this community. And it grew larger and larger. The more larger it grew, the more problems came amongst our people.
But wasn't the reason why, excuse me, it grew the way that it did? Was it because of the information that he was teaching? And it was different.
It was different.
It was.
It wasn't Nuwapian in the beginning. It was Nubian. It was Nubian Islamic Hebrews. It was teaching the philosophy of how Islamic and Hebrew it can be the same, and we went through the various schools. For me, I was a part of the African Islamic Mission, which was the technology side of it, the business side of it, and so that's what we developed. We were the green and gold people, they used to call us. We wore green and gold uniforms. And so the Ansar wore white. It built up, bring a long story short, let's jump 20 years, and he decided to go buy a town. And he moved the cream of the crop to Georgia, which they call Tamaray, and started building pyramids, statues of every kind.
He made Egypt.
It made an Egypt in the West. And so there were always haters. Anytime you build a community, you're going to find people who just can't get along. There are people who can't go by rules and regulations. And what do? And you work. We don't have a lot of counseling services like, it's here, this is for you, you don't want it, okay, well, this person would want it. So in his particular case, I'm jumping forward to time for sake of time. There were several attempts on his life to kill him. We didn't know where all they were coming from. Sometimes it could have been overseas. It wasn't necessarily just here, because he wasn't teaching the pale.
Oh, he was powerful.
Yeah, the pale Arab philosophy. It was coming from other people who didn't like, because he might have stepped on their toes, telling them the truth. And they were trying to make charges for him against things, the pettiest of things, but nothing could really stick because he wasn't doing anything but building community and building character amongst people. And so he was cloning himself amongst the people. So the people became like him and thought like him in terms of building a do-for-self. They finally raided the whole compound, and on fake charges, and something that was a beef, and I guess I'm the first person to say it publicly, but it's a time that somebody say it. It was an in-house beef within family, and one of his sons was very disgruntled because he had a personal beef with his father.
Everybody, yeah.
And so he set out, he said, I'm going to bring my father down no matter what I have to do. And so he conspired with some other ex-members who were disgruntled and had left or were put out for their behavior or whatever things that they were doing that was illegal.
Or punished.
It's like, no, you can't be here. One thing about Doc don't give a lot of second chances. If you violate, it's like, you got to go. And so his son organized amongst these disgruntled people, and he said, listen, the feds came to me, and they said, can you come up with something to take your father down? He said, they offered money. So he said, I'm offering to split this money with you if you can come to the feds.
And the feds offered them money as well.
Offered them money. And that's what happened. And I'm not going to get too specific, but he was charged with rape, molestation of his children, trafficking and children in the compound. If anybody ever went to Tamaray or anybody went around the Ansar, they know.
Personally, my sister and my brother lived on the land. They also dealt with Dr. York personally.
He loved children.
My brother Sorrow, Marquise Brown, my sister Zodiacus, that's not with us, but with us in spirit. Love you, sis.
That wasn't his nature.
No, it wasn't.
These people were paid, supposedly paid. This is the irony of the whole thing. They were going to get paid for this garbage. It wasn't going to stick because it was false and it was fake.
But did they admit that they lied?
The top-notch lawyers were going to defeat it. He got put in a situation where, okay, since you might just beat this, and it looked good he was, because it was crap, it was bull. He said, this situation, your mates, the mothers of your children, are going to be charged too, and they will not get out of jail. Unless. Your children and all the children of the compound are going to be split up, and they're going to be put up for adoption. Unless you admit to these charges. It's on you, your decision. If you don't admit to those charges and you go for yourself.
And they were actually in jail.
Right, they were locked up.
The
children were taken away. And so it didn't take Doc Malachi more than a minute to say, I'm not going to allow you to do that to my children. you know, that's evil. You know, just to split these families and their mothers and never see their children. And it's like, he signed under coercion, under duress.
Plus, they had beating. He was drugged.
Yeah,
it was a whole bunch of things.
I know that it was, you know, Doc he's older than me. He's a couple years older than me. You know, and as we get up in age, our health is failing. And so he had to think of the bigger picture. If he taught right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding amongst the masses of those who call themselves Nuwaubian, they won't need him. So him sacrificing himself so that children can be free to grow and develop and bring and keep this thing going, then he said, let's do this. If his teachings were correct, the Nuwaubian spirit will live on. If he don't, it might kill it. So he chose to allow it to go on. So when I hear different groups, and I hate to call them out, the Hebrew Israelites, stuff, a hearsay. Well, your leader was a molester. He was a child molester. That's what you read about, and you actually believe it. You would never sit down with somebody and say, what really happened? You don't want to know what happened. You just rather accuse him. And so that's part of our beef that we have as conscious people and conscious communities that want to fight each other. The Hebrew Israelites fight against the Moors fight against the Muslims fight against this person, this group fight against the Comedians. And it's like, it's not about, that's why with Garvey, when I say race first, it's about who we are. Let's come together. Like Malcolm said, I don't care what you believe at home. Let's deal with the facts of the matter and let's solve these problems. So, and let's come together and just don't stop until we got the problem solved. As whoever you are, I don't see you as a persona, as you're a this and you're a that. So the slander that goes on with Dr. Malachi York hurts me.
Yes,
and hurts everybody else, those who know the truth of what happened.
And love him.
And so it's like, we'll still go on. And every time someone slanders him, I want to say something, but I just say, you know what? That's on them. You know. So, but anyhow, the point that we have to move at, the Nuwaubian movement is strong. It's just as strong as ever. And the family is holding on. Doc is holding on. And so it's like, it's okay. You can lock up the man, but you can't lock up the movement. You know, the brothers and sisters that are building in Philly and in Brooklyn and uptown, Harlem, you know, and the membership in D.C., down in Vatican City, it's growing. And so these people work hard every day, just like as if Doc was there. Scrolls are still coming out. You know,
yes.
They have a new one.
You know what was weird to me? Mm-hmm. I had somebody break in my house. Do you know the only thing they stole was the books written by Dr. York?
Thank God, maybe they can learn something. And maybe they won't steal no more.
I have now over 100 books. But what I'm saying is that man was amazing.
Right.
And he did things that nobody else has ever brought. He brought out information that nobody ever brought out before in his teachings.
Right.
He made everything so clear when it started, how it started, who wrote it, who didn't, rather this one was real, rather that one wasn't real, how many Jesus was in the Bible.
Right. And so we
know
have,
what I mean?
we have now we have a lot of people on YouTube, the YouTube pseudo scholars, who all basically came out of because they heard about overstanding, they heard about right knowledge, they heard about somebody actually
the black woman is God,
black woman is God. All these new concepts of people now eating right, being vegan. Well, I think a lot of that being vegan is Ben Ami out of Jerusalem. When he left Chicago and he took a delegation, Hebrew Israelites to Jerusalem, and they built communities there 50 years ago. He really started that veganism in the community, and where you be in the community, you have to be a vegan. So, and it's like, and that community is thriving. I think anybody who travels, want to take a vacation, go overseas, don't go to Italy, Greece, or go to England or France. Go to Jerusalem and to the city of Dimona and see what it's like when people do for themselves, when the city is theirs, where everything you look is black, where everybody that's building and doing anything is black, and they didn't start that way. they decided to do that, to make it that way. So that's what Doc tried to do in Atlanta, in Atlanta, in Eatontown, Georgia, was to make a city where you can, a showpiece that you can say, see what we can do, you know, and it can be done again.
Yes, it can.
And I have big hope. I look to some of the young budding leaders, the Polites, the young Pharaohs, the Setties, you know, the Pill brothers, and it's a whole skew of them. And
Sonetta had a nice platform.
Well, Sonetta, I give big props to Sonetta. He has the platform.
Yes, he did.
And
yes, he does.
Yes,
me.
And everybody else.
Everybody came through his platform.
Most people did, and it's like Sonetta is sincere.
Yes, he is.
Sa keeps it going. People have no idea the struggle it takes to maintain that and to keep it going mentally and physically and spiritually, to hang on dealing with our people is a trip.
But I will say about that though, a lot of things that has happened in the platform, I would not agree with. The disrespect of each other, calling each. I mean, it just sounds like a bunch of boys to me, like ranking on each other and this, that, and another.
But that had to happen.
Yeah, but you can't expect your children to look at, with all the information they could get without all the cussing and all that, you know.
Think of it this way. The Young Lords, the Crips, the Bloods, and every other nation, Zulu Nation, every other gang there is out here. Imagine them trying to sit them down and say, y'all work out something. Y'all create a forum. They're going to cuss each other out. They're going to go through conflicts and go through things, but at the end of the day, they're going to work it out.
That information is powerful.
The brothers are going to work it out.
On Sonetta TV.
They're going to work it out. You know, they've already had to go through that stage of battling each other. Every one of them got holes in their program. I don't care if you now Valley Chemist Science, you got holes. You know, if you're talking about Black Power, there's some holes in that. You know, what is black? Who defines black? Who's going to be in the nation? Is it the amount of melanin? You got to work that out, brother. You still haven't worked it out. Is it a mentality? Is it a test you take? What becomes black? And so they are slowly beginning to come together more and more after cussing each other out, threatening each other. Now they're starting to be civilized. And I think they are going to be the beginning of a university of consciousness.
Well, we are going to calm down and have Dr. Professor Smalls. We're going to have Reggie on the show.
Good.
We're going to have many. Dr. Ali Muhammad's going to come back on the show. Taj Tariq Bey. We're going to have many conscious people. We got Hashar and all of them. They should be coming up shortly on the show. I just want to say thank you for
my pleasure.
gracing me to this evening with your presence. And this is Talk Black to Me. Again, I'm your host, Sister Freedom, and look forward to seeing us again next week. Tune in. And I hope you learned a few things and learned that we do have some information here in the city of Wilmington. You have a store on 9th Street.
Yeah, I got a shop on 9th Street, 9th and Orange. You know, it's Tasmia. You know, it's, you know, so people can stop in, follow the music.
And which means that that's a black-owned store. Go to it. And my brother has a store, Cabot, up on 310 Union Street, on the side of 7-Eleven. He has a urban clothing store.
Fantastic.
We got to support there.
We got to support each other.
Yeah, we do. And if you want to get something, order something, the number is 302-252-6775. That's for Cabot, for his store. All right, thank you for being with us this evening. Again, I'm Sister Freedom. Talk Black to Me.
Black Power, race first.
Black Power.